Hello, everybody. As some of you know, my name is Todd, and as most of you know, I'm sure you are joining me here in the Cincilingua membership program, and I welcome you. It's great to have you with me. Cincilingua, we are a language institute located in Cincinnati, Ohio, and Cincinnati, Ohio is located in the Midwestern region of the United States of America. And again, it's great to have you with me here. In this lesson video, we are going to look at some business vocabulary, and we're going to really concentrate in the area of banking. Okay, so we are going to get started here and move you down here, and you can see our introduction, business vocabulary, banking, and this is part 1. Okay, so our first word here, our first vocabulary word is accept. Accept, and this is a verb. It is a verb, and its meaning is to respond favorably. To respond favorably, or to receive. Okay, and we'll look at our first example sentence here, and it reads, upon the completion of his interview, he accepted the position he was offered. Upon the completion of his interview, he accepted the position he was offered. So we say they made him an offer, and that offer was agreeable to him, and he responded favorably to that offer. He accepted the offer. Okay, we can think of accept as the opposite of to reject. Okay. All right, example sentence number 2 here says, I asked the teller if the bank accepted cashier checks for deposit. I asked the teller if the bank accepted cashier checks for deposit. So here is our first word, accept. It's a verb, and it's helpful, I think, to know the noun form is acceptance. Okay, so acceptance is the noun form. Our word here is the verb accept. And now we're going to move on, and we have this word balance. Balance, and balance can be used as a noun. It can also be used as a verb. And when it is used as a noun, it refers to a remainder, the remainder of an amount of something, of a larger amount. When it is used as a verb, it means to calculate the total of an account using credits and debits. Okay, so there's a calculation involved here. And we will look at our first example here. And in this example, it's being used as a noun, we will see. And it says, every time I write a check, I look at my balance first. Every time I write a check, I look at my balance first. I look at the remainder. I look at what I have in my checking account. Is what I'm doing here. What do I have remaining in my checking account? That's important to know, right? Okay. Example number 2 reads like this. It says, it took the accountant a long time to find the error in the books to balance the account. It took the accountant a long time to find the error in the books to balance the account. Now, here we're using it as a verb. It's being used in the infinitive form to balance the account. And we can see that what is being done here, the accountant is making a calculation and looking at the total amount, looking at the credits and the debits, and balancing the account. Okay. All right. Excellent. And here we go to our third word, and this word is borrow. Borrow is a verb, and it means to take and use with the intention of returning it at a later time, of course. To take and use with the intention of returning it, to use something temporarily. Okay, now, in English, to borrow is like the opposite of another word, to lend or to loan. Okay, I know in some languages to borrow and to lend, you use the same word. In English, there's a difference. Okay, so to borrow is like receiving something. Okay, and lending is similar to giving something. But again, we're talking on a temporary basis. Okay, but just understand that there is a distinction between borrowing and lending in English. Okay, and we're going to look at our first example sentence here. The company will borrow money from the bank to build the new factory. The company will borrow money from the bank to build the new factory. So the company will receive money from the bank to build the new factory. It will borrow that money with the intention later to return that money. And of course, they will pay interest on that money. That's the idea. Okay. Example number 2, he forgot his safety glasses at home, so he borrowed a pair from his supervisor. He forgot his safety glasses at home, so he borrowed a pair from his supervisor. So he used his supervisor's glasses temporarily. He used them. He intended to return them at a later time. Okay. Next word here is cautiously. Cautiously is an adverb, and you can tell it's an adverb because it has this ly on the end of it. Most of these words in English that have an ly, most of them are adverbs. There are some that are used as adjectives. For example, the word friendly is an adjective, but most are adverbs. Okay, and the adjective that is associated with this word is cautious, and the noun that is associated with this word, with this adverb, is caution. Okay, but our word is an adverb, and it means carefully in a way that avoids potential problems or dangers. Okay, carefully in a way that avoids potential problems or dangers. Our first example sentence here is, we advise that you cautiously consider spending more than the budget allows. We advise that you cautiously consider spending more than the budget allows. So our advice to you is you carefully consider this spending more. Okay. Example 2 says, it is a good idea to cautiously protect your personal passwords. Yeah, very good idea. It is a good idea to cautiously protect your personal passwords. Yeah, be careful. Protect them cautiously. Okay. All right. And we move on. Our next word is also a verb, deduct. The related noun here is deduction. As a verb, as we have here, it means to subtract or to take away from a total amount or from a larger amount. It is to deduct. Example sentence number 1. Having my own company and working from home, I am able to deduct the expenses of my home office on my taxes. Having my own company and working from home, I am able to deduct the expenses of my home office on my taxes. So I can subtract those expenses from my home office from the total amount that I owe on my taxes. Okay. Example number 2. The company will deduct 15% of our total bill, as agreed upon in our contract. The company will deduct 15% of our total bill, as agreed upon in our contract. Okay, so the company is going to subtract to 15% from our bill. It's going to reduce that total cost by 15%, as we had agreed in the contract. All right, and now we're going to look at this word dividend. Dividend is a noun. It refers to a share in a distribution, a share in a distribution. Example sentence number 1. The quarterly dividends will be paid out on the last day of February, May, August, and November. The quarterly dividends will be paid out on the last day of February, May, August, and November. The quarterly shares will be paid out. Example sentence number 2, during the pandemic, companies had to reduce dividends, or had to eliminate dividends, as the case may be. During the pandemic, companies had to cut dividends. Okay, dividend is our word there. Okay, so we have looked at 6 vocabulary words in this lesson. The first word that we looked at is a verb. Accept means to respond favorably. It's the opposite of to reject. And so we and I also just noted that the noun form of this verb is acceptance. So you accept an offer. If it's a good offer, hey, we're going to agree to that offer, and we are going to respond favorably to that offer. And we're going to say, yes, I accept that good offer. I will take that offer. Next word we looked at was balance. Balance, we said, can be used as a noun. It can also be used as a verb. And when it is used as a noun, it refers to a remainder of some kind, a remainder from a total amount of a previous total amount. What remains is what we call the balance. And when it's a verb, it refers to this action of making calculations. Okay, so so it means to calculate the total of an account using credits and debits. So we look at the account and we calculate those numbers, and we look at the credits, we look at the debits, and we balance that account. Okay. To borrow is a verb. Remember, I said that in English, we need to distinguish this verb from the opposite, really, is to lend or to loan. When we borrow, we take and use money. So we take money, we receive money, or not necessarily money. It's often money, but it can be any kind of a good or an item or something. So we take and use with the intention of returning it at a later time. We use something temporarily. So, for example, I may ask a question, hey, excuse me, may I borrow your pencil for a minute? May I borrow your pencil for a minute? The idea is I will give it back to you in a minute, okay? Then we looked at this adverb cautiously, and I just noted that the related adjective is cautious. The related noun is caution. The adverb that we have here means carefully, in a way that avoids potential problems or danger. Okay, so if the floor is wet, proceed cautiously because you don't want to slip and fall and injure yourself. Okay, so proceed cautiously, use caution. Okay, to deduct is a verb. The related noun is deduction. The verb means to subtract or to take away from the total amount, or from a larger amount, is to deduct. Okay, so you deduct various things from your taxes, and we would call that a tax deduction, to use a noun there. Okay, just for example. And then our last word that we looked at was dividend. Dividend refers to a share in a distribution, If you purchase stock in a company, for example, you will receive occasional dividends on that stock that are paid out quarterly or annually or something to that effect. Okay, so it's a share in a distribution. All right, well, that's going to do it for this lesson video. And I am going to sign off here. But before I do, I will wish you a wonderful remainder of your day. I hope the balance of your day is wonderful. And I am going to also thank you for your attention and your attendance. Great to have you here with me today. And I'm certainly looking forward to you joining me in our next video. And so you all have a great remainder of your day, and look forward to seeing you next time. Signing off from Cincinnati, Ohio.